I'm Katie. I work for Fenix Fire. I am the marketing strategist.
And I'm Scott. I'm also the marketing director at Fenix Fire.
All right, guys. So can we get some hype in the channel for Scott and Katie? They are some of the masterminds behind the whole Phoenix unveiling of the how do you say the new planet, by the way?
It's Zur.
Zur. Okay, I've been calling it Zur.
Yeah, everybody tries to put an accent on it because they're like, oh, it can't just be phonetically what it says, so they try to fancy it up.
So
it's
Zur.
Funny.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have, cubic zirconium on it, so I thought it was Zers or Zale. But guys, this is
Can you guys hear them okay?
Yeah, we're gonna check the sound real quick.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay. But they offered to come on for 2 marketing guys and a 10-man company. Hey, listen, first off, a lot of hype behind that because Matt and I have worked with a couple companies now, and when it comes to
better than none,
comes to a lot of the game companies that are out there, one of the things that we talk about as a community is having communication with the game company, getting a pulse for what's happening, and you guys kind of understanding what we feel as gamers and stuff like that. And that's something that I feel like Phoenix has done extremely well. We've really been fanboying about it a lot, just because it's been new for us to kind of see that from a company, and we appreciate that a lot. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We love working with you guys. When Scott and I talked about strategy and working with influencers, I mean, I come from a background in influencer strategy, and Scott is a gamer. So between the two of us, we know what's important to gamers and what's important to community, and to build that community and foster relationships. So that was one of our biggest things that we wanted to implement, was building relationships with the gaming community and influencers like yourselves, and just make it something that's genuine. And so when we met you guys, it was, I don't know, it was just perfect. You guys are just genuinely good people, and you have an amazing community, so positive. Every time we watch you guys and we're interacting with the community, it's such a great experience. We have a lot of fun, and we always go back and tell the rest of the team, you have to come and watch. You have to, guys. It's an incredible experience.
Yeah, we appreciate your guys' community, and it's actually an extremely positive one. But in regards to that comment, it's no surprise to me because, again, as a gamer, I know that at the same time, I'm also the villain in gamers' eyes because for some reason they're like, oh, marketing and stuff like that. So it's a weird thing. And I joked with you guys when we met you in person, is that I'm aware of that weirdness, where it's as a gamer, it's oh no, marketing, but that's why I know Katie and we try to approach things here in a more genuine way that hopefully gamers will appreciate.
Yeah. Twitch is definitely a booming market. It is. Two fingers. It really is. Obviously Matt and I are very small in the influencing world, right? There are other gamers that are out there that are even bigger. And I hope to see Osiris, as it continues to push on in development and get bigger and stuff like that, that some of the bigger influencers also will kind of get involved, because it's such a really good game. I think that what's important is people understand is that Skippy0330, he's in the channel. He's a YouTube maker.
Hey, Skippy.
He does a lot of YouTube stuff and is very familiar with content creating background. He goes, how's this game? And I was like, so this game is phenomenal. It's very well run, very polished, runs very smoothly, just needs more stuff added to it, the more planets, the more things that we're fighting, the more things we're discovering, the more exciting it is. And, that's huge. And I'm excited about where they're going to be going, so let me read some of the comments real quick, guys. I'm gonna read the comments and it's kind of this is a rough thing, so we're just kind of going with it.
Totally.
So, LBR Gaming, he's a streamer. He says Osiris needs more attention to Twitch. It's a game that's come an incredibly long way, has such amazing potential. Looking forward to streaming and watching as the community around the game grows and branches out. So
awesome.
From our perspective, from mine and Matt's perspective, there's a couple ways to grow on that. First thing is having a big social media presence, or having a presence with your community. So Osiris, we've seen leaps and bounds of growth just from the summer to now. The amount of communication, the tweets that you see out there. They're constantly tweeting something. The other day, they literally just tweeted out about the new UI, which was unexpected. And then the new UI comes out, and I saw the wheel and I was excited about that. Hadn't even played the update yet. So they're constantly like kind of teasing things and stuff like that, which is great because it keeps you interested, right? You're following these social medias, these Twitter feeds and all this, and it's like, you know, oh look, something new, something else, something cool. I think it's really important. There are game companies we deal with that don't do that at all. And then the other thing is with Twitch is that just getting more influencers to play the game and kind of get in touch with it. So from you guys, what have you guys been doing? Like, Katie, what is it you do behind the scenes on your role?
Oh man, a lot. Scott and I have our official titles, but we also wear a lot of hats. So you'll see me on the Steam forums. My name is Belsour there. And I kind of help facilitate the community management, along with Bloodwolf, who was an actual gamer who we saw how engaged he was with the community and how much he loved the game and offered really good feedback, even when there was something he didn't love. He was, I think he's owned the game since
it's close. It's like, it's somewhere around
for a while now. And so we kind of watched from afar at what he was doing. And then when it was time to bring on a full-fledged community manager, we decided who better to bring on than an actual community member who's passionate, who's engaged with the community. So we flew him out here, we trained him. And he's been our acting community manager. So I kind of manage the manager and respond to things when need be. I'm the one who's talking on Twitter. I love talking on Twitter. I'll talk to you about broccoli on Twitter. I've been on Twitter since 2007. So I'm a dinosaur there. And my main goal with Twitter is just to reach out and connect with people on behalf of our company and get to know people, humanize the brand, right? Because we don't want to be a faceless company. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's almost 2018. You can't do that anymore. It doesn't work, and it's not good for anyone. So do that a little bit, schedule out the posts, do the strategy behind it with Scott. Scott and I work as a team. Everything's done as a team. Our desks are right next to each other. We're in the same office. We fight like siblings. We do everything as a team together. So when I say, oh, this is what I do, this is what I do, really it's Scott and I doing everything, discussing everything. But I think my main job is to make sure that what we're doing is strategically sound from a marketing standpoint, but then also we are humanizing the brand. We are reaching out to people and creating those relationships and letting them know that, hey, we're people. We're not just a brand. We are people who care about your gaming experience and your experience with any game that's out there that we put out. And that's kind of what it comes down to. Analytics and all that boring stuff I won't bother you with, because nobody wants to hear about that.
Katie and I are kind of a lot like you guys, except we don't stream, and because it would be boring.
I'm a talker. Yeah.
First off, there's lack of beards and a lack of about 600
I almost bought a fake Santa beard at Target this morning to wear just because I felt very naked. But yeah.
So
it would have covered up my lipstick, so that couldn't happen.
Scott, before you tell us about you, Matt asked, are there going to get new maps for the planet? And is there a paid DLC or an update? It's just an update, so it's just you own the game. It's just more content that they're releasing of the game itself. So that's one of the beauties of it. So you said, are they going to get maps for the planet, Matt Thrower? I think part of the fun is the discovery, like, of the planet itself, and it gets to a point where you kind of like learn the planet as you're playing it, like where things are and remembering. I think it adds to like beacons as well. For example, when we were on before, we were trying to plan for coming to Zur, and we were like, okay, well, how can we plan for this? We want to make these new modifications for the suits. We had to go to Zeal to get some stuff, and I was like, man, like after like 3 or 4 trips, I was like, I should probably bring a beacon, make my life easier instead of trying to coordinate this through the latitude and longitude. So I kind of think that the beacons really, you add a map, maybe it takes away from some of that as well. But
I think that's more a question that Brian
Brian can speak to when he gets here. Like he can speak to this directly.
Yeah,
he should be here probably in like 10 minutes.
Okay, we're gonna hold off, guys. Hold your questions and we'll wait till Brian gets here, and then I'll let Scott tell like kind of what he does behind the scenes, and then you guys can actually tell us, just a little bit about the company in general, if you don't mind. So
sure.
Yeah, so like I hate to break it to you, because this might blow your mind, but internally it's Aziel, not Aziel. Just let you know, since you're getting caught up with like Zare and Zer, just might as well throw it in there and say, yeah,
make a
that's
fancy
plan
accent
too.
on it.
Proteus, Aziel, Zer.
It's Z-Air, by the way.
Yeah. The other thing is, so what do? I basically am looking at oversight on a lot of stuff, right? So like Katie said, we're constantly working together. So she's looking at it purely from a strategic standpoint, and I'm looking at it in a bit larger scope, like a big overview standpoint. We kind of like zero in and then we regroup and certain things like that. When, like, for example, when we first started here, we knew we wanted to grow social, right? Yeah. The reason why is because we knew that's where the community exists. That's where they like to engage with. That's where they like to be. They like to be in their own ecosystem that they're used to feeling comfortable with and communicating and socializing. So that was like a huge push for us to be more communicative on social, which is why we do what we do currently on Twitter, what we currently do on Facebook. It's just so we can try to get out there and message as much as possible.
Yeah. You
might have saw it like in the past couple of days, like we went out there, we said, hey, the update's up, and then all of a sudden people were having like a skill tree issue, right?
That was fun.
So we immediately then went to, yeah, exactly. We immediately went to social and said, hey guys, we are aware of this issue. And then like later in the day, we let people know, please send us this information so we can further look into it. And because of that, and because of people sending in that information to us, we were able to identify the commonality between all those issues that we were able to then go in and fix it and push that hot fix that we did last night. So we know that that's like really the key to not only our game, but games in general, is to interact with your community and get feedback. And that way you have like this symbiotic relationship between the game company and the community. So you can constantly, go to them and say, hey, okay, can you send us this information so that we can help you? And that's always what we're trying to do. Like we see every email that comes over. We see every comment posted on Steam. We see every retweet, every thing like that on social and Facebook and the like. But I mean, aside from that oversight on that is like I'm also then a liaison between us and the dev team over there. And there's Brian right there.
Hello.
Morning.
So yeah, and that's basically how it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that Brian's here, he can talk to you guys more about the actual game.
And two, just to let you guys know, like when everything did go down yesterday, when we went and talked with the team about it, that the team immediately went to action. We got the data, we got the feedback, they found that problem. They worked until the wee hours of the night last night getting that hot fix done because they knew that it mattered to the community. So we're just the go-between for the community and the dev team, but they put in seriously hard work getting that hot fix done so that it wasn't a prevalent issue and people could actually enjoy the update. They busted their butts to make sure, and they went home. I don't even know what time it was when the guys went home last night.
It was about
10, 30, 11?
Yeah, it's like 11 or something.
So they're pretty freaking dedicated when it comes to finding out what's going on and fixing it so that you guys can continue to enjoy the game. And with that said, here's Brian.
Well, we really appreciate that. Brian, how you doing? I'm Joe. I'm the good-looking one of the two. And then Matt is the other one. So, and to go ahead and answer some questions for you. No, we're not lovers, and we are not brothers. We are just friends. So that usually is one of our first introductions.
Yeah, thank you for making that distinction.
Yeah. I figure we just get that out of the way, and then, But, so Brian, if you don't mind, do you mind telling us who you are exactly?
Oh,
come this way so they
can't see me? Okay.
There you go.
How's my hair? Is it okay?
Yes,
Perfect.
it's fine.
It's a lot better looking than mine, so.
Well, I guess my background is I've been in the game industry for 17 years now. I used to work at Blizzard and at Midway in Chicago, and then a company called High Voltage Software in the suburbs of Chicago. And I've worked on a number of AAA Xbox and PlayStation. I founded my first studio back in 2007. We focused on cinematics, and we wound up doing in-game cinematics for Pirates of the Caribbean, Tron, Uncharted 2, God of War 3, and Ghostbusters Wii, among a bunch of other projects. And then I founded Fenix Fire in 2010 with just my wife, and we made you couldn't really get on Steam because that was before Steam Greenlight, and you really couldn't get on the consoles either because they were very curated. That was back in the Xbox Live and PSN days. We tried. We gave them lots of pitches, and they kept saying no to us. So the iPhone came out, and we put an iPhone game out, just me and my wife, called Roboto, and it wound up getting hitting number 7 on the store, on the App Store, and that was kind of the start of Fenix Fire Entertainment. And then since then, we did a bunch of work for hire for years. But right after we did Roboto and launched it, I was working on a little, it was like a little truck game. It was the GAV. It was the first thing that we had, and it started out being a mobile project because who knew it was going to happen with consoles? I mean, at that time, people were saying that the consoles were going to die, and that mobile was just going to take over the world. So we were making this mobile game with Unity called Gates of Osiris, and it was going to be just a little mobile game, and it just wound up getting bigger and bigger. And the crab monster was the first creature. So for forever, it was the GAV versus the crab monster for years. This was back in 2011. But did a bunch of work for hire projects, and started growing what we now have as our core team. And then finally we decided, let's just go for broke and focus 100% on Osiris New Dawn. And we did go broke, and we had to lay off most of the team. In fact, it was just me and Manny, our lead programmer now, who focused on the game for the next year. And we got it to a good point. We launched it, and amazingly, it hit number 1 on Steam. We instantly hired back all the people that were our core team from our mobile days, who are all now here. One of them went to BioWare to work on Star Wars, and he left almost immediately to come back here. Another guy went to CBS. So, we got a talented team, but they all came right back here, and then we've been growing ever since. I guess that takes us to now.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's kind of a lot to swallow.
Yeah.
Because so normally we're like, oh, what's the game's on sale on Steam? We're like, oh, this looks cool, and then we just buy it, and you don't really get a background a lot of times to the companies or how they work or the road that they went on, as we just normally take it and gobble it all up and just devour the content. And we sit back our what is it called, armchair quarterbacks, and we're like, oh, this could be better here, or I want this, or I love this, or I wish this was here. We got to remember that these things start from nothing, right? And then you just heard, he said, went from a mobile to going to there was ideas of console, then to go into PC, and then they had to lay people off, and they brought people back. You're talking, there's a lot of behind the scenes, just people that are involved in the game, and sometimes we forget as gamers that there are people on the other side, right? So last night I went to bed about 12:10 or so, and Osiris tweets out, updates out, and I was like, oh, well, I need to retweet this real quick before I go to bed. And they're working and doing stuff behind the scenes, and while we're sitting here in our chairs the next day just playing it and woo, and getting eaten by a hellhound, which I didn't see, there are people having to do the hard work behind that. So, and we definitely appreciate that. So just to let you know. So you are the man. You are the guy. By the way, congratulations on the new edition. You are the guy behind the idea with Osiris, right? Like,
yeah, the idea was mine, and like I said, it was mostly me and Manny who put the bulk of the whole game together. So my background is I'm an artist. But I've always programmed my entire life, and most of the positions that I've held when I was in AAA was lead environment artist. And what's interesting about that is it really puts you in the middle of the entire production when you're the lead environment artist on a project, because first of all, on the environment side, a lot of people don't realize that 90% of what you see at any one time when you're looking at the game is the environment. Everyone tends to focus on the characters because those are it's kind of the identity of the project. It's what marketing renders, typically get focused on and everything. So environment art is something that is key. And so another aspect of that is you have to learn how to make a lot of really high quality content very quickly, because there's never enough time. So where in AAA development, a character artist might get a month to make one character, like just one prop essentially. The environment artist has to make just tons of props, tons of land, tons of whatever it is, trees and rocks, or if it's dungeons, or if it's sci-fi, or whatever modern day, you're making buildings and skyscrapers and all this kind of stuff, and it's got to be like really, really high quality. So you have to learn how to make things very quickly at a very high quality. And going through a number of cycles like that, you just kind of become a machine that is able to create really high quality stuff very quickly. The other aspect of being a lead environment artist in AAA was it puts you right in touch with the engine side, because you're always having to optimize everything. Another thing that character artists don't have to do is they make their art and they just give it to somebody and it goes into the game. But the environment artists need to put, if you're making a forest, tons of trees in there, but then you find out that you're running at 5 frames a second. And then it's like, well, who's going to help with this? And everyone's looking at you. So you have to come up with a way to do optimizations so that it runs fast and has enough room for the gameplay and everything. So and then the other aspect is you have to also manage a lot of people at the same time. I've had lead artists that had, they didn't have to create anything in the game. They were just able to manage. And you see that a lot in big studios. But when you're the lead environment artist, you're expected to do all the work as a regular environment artist, but then also lead and train and hire. When I was at Blizzard, it was like 12 environment artists at the same time. So so I think that's kind of what molded me in a way, was my time at Blizzard, when that's exactly what I was doing. And the game I was working on at Blizzard was StarCraft Ghost, which never came out.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, two things. So in regards to environment, I say this probably every stream that we stream this game, that you guys have nailed the aspect of being on what feels like a desolate planet at times. There have been times that I'm on Proteus and I told Matt I hold my breath, and because I feel like I turn the music down and all I hear is the breathing and the mask, and you feel like you're literally just walking on this planet between the dust, like from the footsteps, and climbing up the ravines, and then you look over and you're like, oh my god, you're like, you have this huge crater now you have to go through. It just feels like sometimes I hold my breath, and it's truly breathtaking. So this is our first trip to Zur today. We just got here. And I didn't realize the little tiny red pools will also hurt you. Learn that really quickly. But before I could come to Zur, we decided to get materials from Azeel. Apparently I was saying it wrong. From
Azeel.
Azeel.
And Azeel.
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 Jesus, the other planet you guys have in the game.
It's the letter A, the letter Z, and then an eel.
Okay.
Azeel.
A-Z-E. Oh, okay.
Azeel.
All right. The A planet So
Joe's really good at messing stuff up. I know you don't know this. This is a quick Joe tutorial. Yeah. He's really good at messing stuff up.
Great.
And we love him for it.
Everything. I managed to crash your ship on the asteroid, left it there.
Got stuck in a rubber tree.
I got stuck in a rubber tree. Like, all right, dude. Yeah. So I'll manage to make this go down in flames too by the end of the interview. But you guys do a really good job with like feeling like when I was on that A planet, it's so dark and like it was scary and the crabs. You guys do a really good job with just like the environment. People always come in and say they see this game, they're like, wow, this is so pretty. What is this game? And I was like, this is one of those sleeper games. I bought this. We had one of our viewers who's part of our stream team come in. He's a fellow streamer and he was like, have you heard of Osiris? I said, what is that? He goes, it's a new space game that's out, survival game. You should check it out. And I bought this like probably a month after you guys released it off of Steam, and it has come a long way. When I stepped on the planet back then, I thought it was beautiful, and it's awesome that like here we are today on a third planet, getting to explore, you know, more of the environment, which is amazing. So we really appreciate that a lot. Now, somebody asked a question. They wanted to know. How many people do you have actually working on your team now? You guys have over there?
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah, let's count.
Do a head count.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 developers now.
12 developers.
Including
you guys started with what? It was just 2 of you guys.
2.
So this is a question I have with, because we talked with some other companies. You guys all do some work remotely, or are you guys kind of like in the same area working together? Or because Matt, I always wondered from the gaming side how hard that is to make it happen remotely. Yeah.
We've tried doing the remote thing. It just doesn't really work because you'll wind up getting stuck on something and then you don't know how to remedy the situation. So there's some things that could be done remotely, like we do a lot of ZBrush work on our creatures. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a modeling program that you actually sculpt millions of polys, and Hollywood uses this to create their creatures and whatnot.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there's artists out there that just focus on this one program and just focus on like creature design, for example, and we've hired those people to create some high res sculpts, and then we go and we bake them down. But the bulk of all the creatures that we've made have been made in house. All the characters, I mean, I'd say 90% of everything that we've made has been. Sometimes you could not export, but have external concept artists, and we've done that too. And that works pretty well. It's just little pieces of art you could do. Programming, design, it needs to all be in-house. So we just find that it just works better.
Okay. Yeah.
I know you guys probably have a million questions over there from everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
So let's because I know Brian has a ton of stuff to do today too. Let's do like the not rapid fire, but let's do like a Q&A session.
Yeah. Do you want to know about the inspiration for the game, or?
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know what they want.
I would just love to know anything that you would care to share, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So yeah, well, I've been playing games since Atari, right? So I've grown up with video games. I don't know life. I think I'm the first generation because I'm older. I'm the first generation that doesn't know life without video. And I've never really played a video game where I really felt like I was truly somewhere else. And I really wanted that for Osiris. I really liked the first Resident Evil. That was the first time. Yeah, that was the first time I really felt afraid for my character. Prior to that, you have energy meters, and your character dies and you just respawn, and it's just about a trial and error, growing in your own skills. A lot of games that I grew up on were very skill based. All the NES and Super Nintendo games, and before that, ColecoVision and Television. Atari. It was all just based on how good are you, and arcade, of course, as well. But yeah, I never really felt like I was truly there and truly afraid for my character's life, and I really wanted that for Osiris. And I was looking at the other sci-fi game, and a lot of the other sci-fi games are you pretty much run and gun, and it's got nothing to do with oxygen and suit puncturing and anything like that. And so I knew right away that if we set this project in a near future, something that was more tangible and really focused in on that, it could have maybe a tinge of that Resident Evil flavor, and separate us from the rest of all the sci-fi games that are already out there and that are very well known. We knew we were going up against extremely stiff competition. And while we were developing the game, I guess through serendipity, all these great sci-fi movies came out that were all set in near future. I remember reading the book The Martian, and I read it in 3 days. I couldn't believe how great a book that was. And then finding out that none other than Ridley Scott was going to be directing it. It was going to star Matt Damon, and it was going to be out later that year. I was like, holy cow, that's going to be amazing. And then Gravity came out, Interstellar, and I loved all of that. I really liked Apollo 13.
Yeah.
The Tom Hanks Houston We Have a Problem thing. There's
such visceral reaction there.
Hence, just to put this out there, hence that email, Houston@FenixFire.com.
Yeah, that's where we got Houston@FenixFire.com, in case anyone didn't know.
No, but the person's name managing that account is not Houston.
Yeah, the guy's name isn't Houston. It's Scott and I. But,
hey,
yeah.
So are you guys the ones that get that? 'Cause I sent you a bug report this morning. It may be a Nickelback
Yes!
reference.
That's us.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
we ignored your email.
It
No,
has
I'm
a
just kidding.
Nickelback reference in it. I lost my nickel today, so sorry. I didn't know it was you guys. I thought it was somebody in Houston.
Nope.
That's funny. That is funny.
So, there's everybody has a lot of questions that people got to understand, right?
Yeah.
So this is the first time we've had them on here. We really
Let's
appreciate
try rapid fires.
Yeah. Rapid fire section.
I know there's gonna be a lot of questions. So customizable vehicles, yes or no? Eventually.
We would like to.
Okay, yeah, Scott, give him the what he can and can't say, right? Like,
hey, he can whatever. He can say whatever he chooses to.
I would like to see like a lush planet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would like to see water planet. They're asking lush planet. Can my windshield be cleaned when I hit the K button?
Do you honestly think if you were in space, your windshield would be clean ever?
Your visor.
I don't think it's called a windshield now that I think
Well, you
about
can
it.
use the visor. I think the Q key cleans the visor.
The Q key? Oh god.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there like a little wiper that?
Well, we have to put the animation on there, but
I've never even tried it.
Yeah, the lens
it now,
does
we get
clean
mine.
for a while. Getting back to the planet question, so we're basing this solar system off of the Gliese 581 system, and we haven't released it to the public, but there is a super Earth, and there is a water world.
I love Kevin.
And
Merry Christmas.
And so for us, it's really easy to create the terrain, and the planet's surfaces and atmospheres. But what we found is if we don't release enough gameplay along with the environment, then we run into the problem of, well, then this isn't very fun.
Yeah.
And then that's where we're always kind of wrestling with, is the simulation versus game, because if this was a true simulation, 99% of the entire universe is desolate, as far as we know, right? Maybe even 100%, except for us. We don't really know.
Yeah.
But there's theories that there's Goldilocks zones around other stars, and that there might be life, some foliage, or maybe even animated life out there. So, but in the context of a game, just going to another planet and just having a big bare, rocky surface with nothing on it is going to be very anticlimactic. You're going to get there and you're going to be like, now what? It's kind of the same thing that happened to the astronauts when they went to the moon.
Yeah.
Which is why we haven't really gone back there too, right? Well, we're here and this is neat and we got some moon rocks, but there's really nothing else here.
That would have been like the tweet that they put out if Twitter would have been a thing back then. Like, great, we're here. Now what?
Now what?
Now what?
So
Get in the car, drive around. That's what they did.
Is there any plans to revisit planets like Azeel? Is there any plans
Yes.
to like maybe more?
Yeah, we have big plans for Azeel. Yeah, in our on deck circle is improving the existing creatures we have. We've never had an animator until recently, so now we have a bunch of animations that are going to be going
exciting.
into. Yeah, we want to get a little bit more of a Dead Space feel to the combat. Really kind of amp up the horror aspect of it, because I think that space is like extremely frightening, and it should be, because we're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And any which way that we could portray that, more ways to die, I think would be good.
That sounds fun. Delightful.
More ways to die? Oh Jesus.
Joe's super excited about that.
I'm really excited about more ways to die. I mean, it's already terrifying enough. I went into the hive the other day, and that was scary as hell. I couldn't see half the time, and there was some kind of crab creature in there, and that was terrible. Someone said, how are you planning to balance survival aspects with having fun and having freedom of exploration, which a lot of these games have a problem with? It's like most survival games, everybody wants something different, right? I'm a builder. I like to build, okay?
Yeah.
Some people just want to attack things. Some people like just exploration and looting, okay? So it's a challenging thing. What do you find that this game kind of caters more to or is looking for? Or are you trying to find the balance with all of that?
Yeah, what's interesting is I never really got into survival games. When Minecraft came out, it was for what I considered a younger demographic. It didn't really appeal to me. The sandbox feel of it didn't really appeal to me. But what really did was, all the different craftables and things that you could do. I thought it was really hardcore that Minecraft went and didn't give you any of the recipes to find them all out. You couldn't get away with that these days.
Yeah.
But I agree. There's different kinds of players, and we're very mindful and cognizant of that. There are builders. There's people who want to play with their friends, and we consider more social. There's the players who want to feel like they're in a movie and want it to be very cinematic and story based. And then there's the other players that want to, shoot aliens and dominate. So, how do you cater to all of these into one game? Is this a situation where you try to cater to all of them and then you're sort of the master of none? I don't know if I really have an answer other than we're finding that less and less players are playing PvP and more are playing cooperative multiplayer.
Yeah.
And we think that may be a strength. We also feel the single player campaign is a strength. We want to do a lot more with story. What is the Osiris mission? What happened to the other colonists? Why are you here? Do you get back to Earth? Right? So a lot of these questions we're gonna answer. But as you go and make a game like this, you typically go through and put in all the features and polish the features with the audience, and that's why we're in early access. We know that we don't have all the answers, so we want to create something that we think is cool and say, hey, what do you guys think? And then work off of that feedback and grow the game organically. Once we get to the end, then we'll put the whole rest of the story in and have a really cohesive campaign. What we have in there right now is gonna feel primitive compared to how it's gonna be when, I guess, complete with the story.
So for us, like, you know, we look at, you could break it down like, you know, when you buy a game like Osiris and you say, hey, I spent $30 on this game. You guys often put it on sale a lot of times too. And sometimes as content creators, we feel like we're cheating the devs because we're like, oh, we bought this game for like $20. And it's like, I have, you know, 300 hours in it now. You're like, you break that down. I mean, I made like 10 cents a minute or 10 cents an hour I was playing for this game. The content's so much there. The question we have is, or what's important to us is, what keeps us coming back to a game, right? So, you know, the things that you guys have added in, like the update, couple updates ago, when you guys added in more customization for the building of your space station or your base, like that was huge for us because it gives us the opportunity to be creative in the game that you created and do more with it that we want to do. So once we've explored the stuff and collected the resources, what can we do from there? And so I like I said, I encourage you guys to continue to go down the path of more customization or creatively being able to build stuff, because that's what keeps us kind of continuing to play the games. It's so much easier to come back in and do it. It's fun to revisit. I find these games have like the campaigns and all that, to come back and revisit those every once in a while. But what keeps us continually playing it day after day is because we're like, well, I want to try to build like a space station that's on the side of this mountain now instead. So we're really liking the direction of where it's going and adding the planets. What I liked about today, so there were 3 of us playing currently, and we wanted to go to Zur. So I had to go to one planet to collect resources, while Matt farmed resources on our planet to make the new mods. We had another person that was preparing us with ammo and med kits so that we can make the trip to Zur. And like, that's the part that we love about the game. And we're excited because we're thinking like, okay, 2 years from now, when there's even more planets or more resources that we have to go, and we have to build temporary bases on, let's say, one planet to farm, have a farming production there, and then a base here on this planet that's the core base, and we're traveling back and forth. I mean, that's the stuff that excites us. Like, oh my gosh, you know? And so we're loving it.
Yeah, that matches our grand vision as well, is being able to have bases on a number of different planets. Really, we'd like to really beef up the colony system and make that better. We even want you to be able to create your own flag, and we have some of the framework of that built.
That's awesome.
And really make the game about, it could be about territory. It could be like you plant a flag here and then nobody else could build in a certain circumference. I mean, cool. We've been thinking about ideas like that. And then maybe there's some kind of a bonus for when you come back to the game because of your territory, kind of like the game of Risk board game, where every turn, depending on how much territory you have, you get more army men to, you know, put out there, more resources essentially, right? Maybe something like that would be interesting. So I think there's a lot that we could do with that aspect of it. And of course we've been working forever on the space station system. I just think it's going to be great to have your own base that you could live in up in space, and then, you know, dock your spaceship up and, you know, shuttle down and back up, and kind of rule from low orbit. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to see like where you have to, like, let's say if you leave a planet and then you have to maybe outer space refuel, or you can reach into another orbit or something like that, and having to kind of have that maintaining of your ship. I do want to compliment you on something real quick. The resource regeneration with like the meteors and the crashes, one of the most unique and best things I love. Every single time they come crashing into the planets, first I have to make sure I'm not in the way. Secondly, I watch them every single time. I mean, they come shooting down and you see them, and the graphic and the animation for them is phenomenal. And I love that it's not immersion breaking. So I'm one of the ones that play the game and I pretend when I'm by myself that I'm a spaceman. And I love the fact that it's not like, oh, look, this rock just grew. It's like, oh, this crashed into the planet, I'm collecting resources. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. We looked at some other survival games while we were building the main, you know, foundation of this game, and we did see that. We saw a lot of really clunky regeneration stuff, and we're like,
Yeah.
a lot of these guys kind of missed the mark. There's so much substance in the subject matter itself that we could utilize, and that's where we always go, is theme and subject matter first to guide our hand on the design. And meteor showers, it's funny because it was so easy to put in. That and the giant worm both went in on the same day, and then suddenly the world really felt alive. One of the first things that we got in on the planets was the weather system, and I'm still really proud of that. The changing weather, the night-day cycle, that seemed to really make you feel like you were there.
Well, between like the sandstorms and like and then it's like dark all of a sudden, like sometimes I just want to go, you need to install radio in the big jets, that way when I go sit in the, get my oxygen back and I'm sitting to wait out the night, we just turn on the radio. It'd be kind of nice, that'd be kind of pretty cool. But I find myself, I will admit, there are a couple times I'm like, I'm just gonna sit in this real quick until the sun comes back up, because it's really dark and I can't see anything, and there are things in the dark time. And the worm, I can't really thank you for that. That thing has killed me more times than I care to admit. You see it coming from like far away, and it ate a, last time it ate a plane. Okay, one of my. So I don't want to talk about the worm. It literally ate a spaceship. All right, on stream, we had to make a whole nother spaceship. It was terrible. So tell Brian how cool it is that Zur is title locked, so you can stare at the beautiful star without getting blind. Yeah, I have actually. Somebody made that comment today. Mackie saw the star and he was like, dude, the animation of the star is beautiful in the background. I mean, it makes it easier to be on the planet and see, like I said, you guys really nailed the environment, and you said you come back from that background. So it's like, you know, now I'm like, well, okay, good. I'm glad you guys are nailing it, because you're doing what you do well at, because it is so good. I wish other games would kind of like take lead to that. One of the things Matt and I just say, we just as gamers, we gobble it up. We just want more bad guys, more things to build, more stuff. That's it. It's a problem we have. You guys are in an early access, right? And your game runs like a beta. It runs like it's ready to go out. We just want more stuff to play with. But we absolutely love it. I'm trying to think. Do you guys have any questions? Any more things that you all want to ask? I don't want to take a bunch of your time. We really cannot tell you guys how much this means to us. So.
Oh, it's been awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Even I know Brian's probably has to run in a couple minutes because he's got a full schedule today. Scott and I can stick around. We're doing, as I understand it, some key giveaways. So we'll be around for that.
I just keep pinching myself that this is even happening. You know, I keep pinching myself that people are stumbling over the names of planets that I just invented.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, I mean,
it's
going to be a very, very surreal feeling.
Yeah, 5 years ago, GAV versus Crab Monster, and thinking no one's going to ever see any of this.
Like, no one's going to care. No one's going to see this.
The thing is like, this is like, I feel like this is kind of just like, I mean, you guys have been around for over a year. This, well, on the Steam since I've owned the game or whatever. And so you've been around a little bit, but like it is, to me, I feel like y'all are just kind of really starting to hit a stride even more so. There's been so many little updates, and I feel like there's gonna be a point where Bearded Guys is playing this, and we're like 7th on the list of people playing it, and that is gonna be a very, very good thing, because people come in and they see this and they go, "What are y'all playing? I've never seen this." I'm like, you're missing out, because there's going to be a point to where everybody knows about this game. And you're going to be behind the curve. And I think one of the beauties of EA is being able to see what it looked like a year ago versus now versus 6 months from now. You know, I'm going to be like, yeah, I played on there before those planets existed. You know, all you could be on was Proteus. I was eaten by the worm when it had only eaten like 1,000 people. You know,
get off my lawn.
Yeah, so that'll literally be us. But this is a big question. Console. And you probably can't say yay or nay, but is that something you guys would like to do eventually?
We would like to. Yeah.
I feel like my Twitter
and
is
I think
nothing
the
but
consoles
console.
would like us. Yeah, we've talked to them.
Yeah, I think we are so focused right now on creating an amazing experience for PC and kind of our internal roadmap for the next year. It's something I know we've talked about, but
the PC is the easiest to develop for. It keeps us the most nimble. As soon as the code base solidifies, then we could look at these other things, but until then, we really have to, the game isn't ready yet, and I know that Xbox has an early preview program and that kind of stuff, but when the code base is changing as much as it is, it really changes. I've been on a lot of projects. There's huge changes going in constantly on this. And the amount of rework that you'd have to do to get it to fit on a console every single cycle, we would just be constantly shooting ourselves in the foot every month. It would just never get. We would take a step back and take a step forward and then 2 steps back every single month. So we decided it's best for us to just focus on the PC version for now, get it as good as we possibly can, and then we could see about the consoles.
So I again cannot echo enough for the community. I don't think that that answer is probably the most reassuring answer you can give to a gaming community. Absolutely. Because we have games that we're very passionate about that have gone to console early and have literally just, in my opinion, have wrecked a lot of the credibility of their game, because what's happened is exactly what you just said. And it hurts really bad. So the reason why I asked about console disc, a lot of people were asking about it. But secondly, I also think that this game would work really, really well. I feel like I'm not really a controller guy, but I feel like I could play this game controller pretty well and enjoy it.
It does work with a controller. At least most of it does.
Oh, well, then I will be busting out my controller after the interview, because I've wanted to try that out. So, don't worry, we will break it. We will let you know. But no, it's like, seriously, like the console comment is like a touchy thing, and like what you said, really, from a community, it's like, okay, we want to get the game right, we want to get it good, we don't want to take steps backwards, we want to go step forward, we want to move forward, and then approach that. And that's such a reassuring thing from the gaming community, as that's just what you want to hear.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, it is. And I think sometimes people get lost in that sometimes. And again, I see all the people out there are like, oh, bring in the console. And I'm like, listen, I would much rather them go this route and then eventually it come. Yeah, there's a lot of console players that have a lot of appreciation for that too. So, but I know, guys, there were a lot of questions like that, and we'll try to do something like this again in the future. I want to thank you for your time again. Cannot thank you enough. So, like, people that are new to Osiris or new to Fenix Fire, please take note of what they've done or what they're doing behind the scenes, and the outreach that they've done with the community is amazing. There's going to be a point where, we look back and say, I can't believe that this discussion happened, or they had said this, and looking forward to this part. Do us a favor, support them. This is an amazing game, an amazing company. Matt and I got to meet Kadi and Scott a while back, and again, we fanboy all the time a little bit, because it's just hard to believe, because we talk with a lot of companies, right? And you guys are some of the few that we've seen kind of have the approach you have now. And if anything, I would much rather people say, I don't even like space, but I want to buy this game just to support you guys. So we really appreciate that.
Well, we really appreciate all your support too. It really means a lot that you're playing the game and sharing it on your streams and sharing it with your audiences and evangelizing something that is such a passion project for us. Everybody on this team truly loves this game. There's a lot of other games that we keep talking about making, and we just can't, for whatever reason, pull ourselves off of this one because there's just more and more that we want to do. So it's exciting. This is an exciting time, and like you said, I think we are hitting our stride. Early access is not easy. you know, and so our biggest problem that we've had is with ourselves. We get too ambitious every single update cycle, and we try to put too much in and take too many risks. And then when you have a feature that's half in, then that doesn't work, right? It's got to go all the way in, and it's sometimes hard to realize when it, you know, where that is until you're in the thick of it, you know. And it's like, oh, it's going to need this, and it's going to need that, it's going to need that to really be something that's compelling. And sometimes you don't know that until the 11th hour, and that's why early access is hard. Because you're also making promises to the community that you're going to be coming out with these updates at certain times and certain intervals. So we're learning, I guess, is a long way of saying all that. We're learning how to still take the risks, still be ambitious, but find a way to get it all done and get it done to a level that we expect of ourselves and that our community expects.
What I really love is that we're learning together. Like, this is a journey that entails the company, team, and the community. And we're learning, just like with any, you know, quality relationship, we're learning how to traverse this and how to communicate, and, you know, learning how to listen twice as much as we talk, and learning how to take that feedback from them, and they learn how to communicate with us. It's such an amazing journey, and yeah, it has its bumps in the road, but I think that this is something that only early access offers. And as much as it might be difficult at times to go about this, you know, the path of early access, it's really been an incredible eye-opening experience about communicating with the players and building this amazing thing together.
That's the big thing right there. So EA is a very touchy subject, right? Because we like almost all games we play now seem like they're EA, right? And they're in early access, but that is such a broad term, right? What one games is early, like your guys' game feels so much more polished than other games that we play that are also called early access. Okay. And so sometimes you're like, all right, this is like a pre-early access, or this is an alpha to the alpha. And you're like, what is actually happening on this game right now? And then I play this other one, and I'm like, well, this game should be this game's ready. So it's a very touchy thing. And the one thing I think that saves everything on that is communication. Like, that is so big. Now, sometimes as gamers, we're very passionate, and we're like, hey guys, this is how you should do this. You know, like, can you please, you know, transpose my head on the front of like a hood ornament on the spaceship? And you guys are like, Joe, you can't do that. That's not possible.
You asked for that.
But the point is that, you know, we know that the requests on our side will be a little more ridiculous compared to like what you guys do, but just knowing like updates, like standard updates, and the communications that we've been getting through like the social media and stuff like that is huge. It is so big. We cannot explain enough how that is helpful to the community, because it keeps us in check. It allows us to know. We don't want to feel like we're being lied to. A lot of us don't mind being on the journey of early access. Hey, we put this system in. You guys play it. We play it, and we're like, dude, this is terrible. Okay, this is absolutely terrible. This is not fun. You guys get feedback, and you go, you know what? We revamp the system. Well, the best part about that is the communication process involved. We don't mind, you know, as gamers, the early access like that. That type of thing, but it all goes back to, like a Pop said, communication is the biggest thing. And you guys have done, I hopefully like we walk away from here, because I feel like we've been like, you know, God, these companies are really cool. I'm telling you, you guys don't understand some of the stuff that they've said behind scenes makes me feel a lot more confident. And then you guys, you know, for people to get to kind of see it, hopefully people understand that. So space version of the sandworm that will chase streamers around. No. But anyways, I don't personally have any more questions. I don't want, like I said, I don't want to take a lot of time, and we definitely appreciate you coming on today. It meant a tremendous amount, Brian. I mean, seriously, it was really nice meeting you for the first time as well, too. So,
likewise.
But we're going to drag Brian to a conference pretty soon so that he can meet you guys in person.
Hey, we're going to PAX East in Boston. So, just saying, it's only on the other side of
PAX East. That's right. PAX East is coming up.
It's in April. Just saying.
Boston.
So
Yeah, I know. He's always like, okay, we gotta get this stuff done. Like, let's stay on it. Let's stay focused.
It's one of those things where we're like, we want to meet you, but we also still want you making the game.
Right.
Too.
It's a hard
like,
balance, I'm sure. Yeah.
It really is. It's a circus act.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a juggling act for sure.
Neat.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we would love to get out to an event sometime in the near future and meet up with everybody and just kind of have some face-to-face time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Hang on, he's
Got my 4-year-old is like coming here now and decided this is the time to deal with this right now. So I apologize. This is totally unprofessional. Say hi. But yeah, we really appreciate it. We're really excited about the direction of Osiris too. You know, we're gonna take Zur. We're on it today. We're playing, and we're gonna eat it up and gobble it up. So Brian, get to work with more.
Yeah, just know it's the tip of the iceberg for what we're going to be doing with Zur, and we're going to be doing a lot more with Aziel too. And you know, you heard me talk about some of the other planets, but you know, as we've shown on Proteus, there could be multiple sides to a planet that we could travel to as well, and that's something that we want to explore. So there's plenty to find, plenty to look at. It's for us a matter of coming up with the right reasons on, well, why are we going there? What are they, you know, what's there to be found? How does it benefit me as a player? What are the rewards? What are the strategies? What are the obstacles? And making that compelling. And every time we ask those questions, we look at the subject matter, we look at the scientific data first, and we extrapolate from there.
Well, we appreciate. I didn't realize that all this stuff was real stuff too. By the way, I was like, "Is that a real element?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's a real element." I was like, "Okay." I thought most of this stuff was made up, like, you know, space terms, so that you guys just made up.
We love you, Joe.
Most of my streaming career has been made up words, so. I thought you guys were on my level, but apparently you guys actually use real terminology. But we appreciate that, like that research goes behind it. You know, that like you guys aren't just sticking something on a planet and then you're just like, okay, here you go, here's more stuff, or oh, we need to put more stuff out. Oh, boom, here now there's this on there as well too.
To a degree, I mean, I don't think there'd be hellhounds out there, but
Oh,
you know.
I'm Matt's dealing with them right now. I'm not having to. So I came to the planet prepared, right? You ready? I brought a sword, I brought drinks, food, I brought axes, I brought a lot
You're
of
ready to
ammo.
tailgate.
Yeah.
I shot my gun twice and it broke. So I forgot to bring an extra gun.
We're shocked.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the thing. So my venture hasn't been so good yet. My wife said I'm a genius. Thanks, babe. But again, we really appreciate the you coming on here today and talking with us. It means a tremendous amount.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, we should do it again.
yes, hopefully we'll get some
Absolutely.
more talks as progress gets going. All right.
Yep.
Thanks again.
Sure.
All right, guys.
Have a good one, guys.
All right. Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.